Welcome back to BackToYou. This is a platform where individuals with a deep understanding about themselves come together and just talk about real shit. I have a special guest today. This is my good friend Cheyenne,
Yes, yes, yes.
and we're just gonna get into a little bit of topics today. But first, we're going to play this game. It's
Oh,
called Off the Dome,
oh,
and I just want you to like. It's either gonna be like this or that questions,
okay,
or it's gonna be like a question and you just answer off the top of your head.
okay.
So the first question is: do you prefer early mornings or late nights?
I say early
Early
mornings.
mornings. I do.
Yeah,
I agree. I like early mornings because I go
yes.
to bed early, so I don't
Same,
really be up.
same. I can't hang.
Okay, so if you could eat one fruit for the rest of your life, what would it
Mm,
be?
mm,
Just one.
just one.
Mm.
Probably watermelon.
Watermelon?
Yeah, because you can get your
Watermelon,
water and it got a little taste
yeah.
to it.
It's like it gotta be a good watermelon for me to want to eat it. Cause if
Yeah.
it's not like that right consistency
Mm-hmm.
and that right just amount of sweetness, I ain't gonna want it.
Yes. What would be
Um,
yours?
Mine would be ooh, probably mangoes. I love mangoes.
Smart.
Okay, so if you could live anywhere outside of the US, where
Mm,
would it be?
probably Bali.
Bali? Oh, I seen videos
Yes.
of this man. He lives in Bali and he like
Mm-hmm.
shows his experience. It looks so fun.
Yes, because
Like,
you went to Thailand,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
That's exciting.
yes. That flight though, whew, Jesus. But it was
Uh,
definitely worth it. It was definitely worth
I
it.
already know. I already know. Where would you move?
Um, it's so hard because I haven't really been to too many places. So the
Hmm.
only thing I could think of is Thailand. But
Okay.
I really wouldn't want to move there just because it's only one reason, and it's just like fear based, really. But it's
Hmm.
just because it's a really, really small island, and
Oh,
I'm
I
just scared
got
of
you.
like a tsunami or
No,
something.
coming through.
Yeah.
I got you. I got you.
Okay. Last question: are you a flat earther or you are globe? Flat. I figured you was.
You.
Yeah, flat earther
Yep.
for sure.
Yep.
For sure. Okay. So the first topic that I wanted to get into is like everybody is finding that just something to believe in, like
Hmm.
whether it be Jesus or Allah or just like the divinity of the universe. Like
Hmm.
everybody is finding something that's helping them navigate the world.
Hmm.
So I just wanted to like talk about the importance of that and just
Hmm.
being able to have an open mind about different people's beliefs.
Hmm.
So, like, what's your take on that?
So I feel like as long as you have something that is helping you move forward
Mm-hmm.
and you're not harming others, I kind of believe in like as long as you're following universal law.
Yeah,
So you're not harming others, you're not stealing, and what is it?
I
I
wish
can't
I
think
could
of it
help
right
you, but I
now.
know what you're talking
But
about. I
kind
don't
of the
know them off the top
basics
of my
of
head
that.
though. Yeah, like basic moral code. Yeah.
Yeah. So as long as you're doing that and it's helping you push forward in a positive experience, in a positive way, and again, you're not harming others, then I feel like, whatever, because I feel like at the end of the day, whatever you believe, I personally believe that everything is interconnected. So I feel
Literally,
like it's
yes.
all just to literally get you on the same path, just
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
following your morals and just being the best version of yourself.
I couldn't agree more about that because
Hmm.
I personally, when I was younger, I was Christian. I was in the church, going to Bible
Likewise.
school, different stuff like that. And
Hmm.
before that, I was in the nation. I was a Muslim.
Hmm.
I don't remember too much about it because I was very
Hmm.
small, but I do
Yeah.
remember wearing like the head wraps and like
Ah.
being in the temples and different stuff like
Mhm.
that. And then recently, I've been reading, well, not,
Mhm.
I wouldn't say recently, maybe like in the past couple of months, I've read different books about Hinduism and like the different things
Mhm.
in that religion. And it has so many similarities. So you
Yes.
can't help but to say like everything is leading to the same point. It's just they
Right.
have different details, different
Mhm.
names or
Mhm.
stories to help you get to that specific point
Mhm.
or whatever lesson they're trying to teach. But I feel like the way that some people go about it, I don't
Mhm.
like how they try to tear down somebody that doesn't have the same beliefs as them.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's just where I feel that people are having more of an open mind to different things, but it's
Yeah.
still the fact that certain things that's not common or commonly talked about or just
Mhm.
people don't really know about for real
Mhm.
still is kind of like the word they love to use is demonized. So yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And that's where I feel like those morals come into play, because I feel like a lot of people think of hurting and harming in just a physical way, but you can do it emotionally
Mhm.
and you can do it mentally. Um, and that's where I feel like if someone has something that gets them through the day, and again, they're not harming anyone, then, it's not your place to be like, oh, this is wrong. And
Yeah.
that's how it was with me with my stepdad,
Mhm.
because he told me that I was gonna go to hell and all this stuff. And yeah, it
He's
was
oh my
it was really bad.
gosh.
It was when I was around like 19,
Uh-huh.
and I was going to car meets,
Uh-huh.
and I'm vibing. Like this
Yeah,
that
you
was my
just
vibe.
being your
Yeah.
age.
I didn't drink. I
Uh-huh.
didn't even smoke back then.
Mhm.
Um and yeah, it was just like, don't put that on me.
Yeah,
You know what
cuz
I'm
who
saying?
are you
Cuz
to say that? Like how can you
yeah.
say that to me?
Mhm.
That's crazy. That's so crazy.
Yes.
But it's people do that and
Yeah.
I just wish they would realize you can't put yourself above anybody else or tear
Mm-mm.
down somebody
Mhm.
because all in all really like you're doing that to yourself. Like it's going to
Right.
come back to you because we
Karma.
all are connected.
It's really interesting. I was talking to my mom the other day
Mm.
um about like healing, and she told me that she didn't need to heal. And I was just like, man, like I
That's
was
a
like,
statement. Like
uh
that's a statement right there.
it is, because I believe everyone has to heal, and you're continuously healing because you're continuously learning.
Mhm.
Because it's always going to be something that you could work on. I feel like,
Mhm.
and it's just being open to that.
That sound like very pride based, like saying
Yes,
like, oh, I don't need to heal. Like, yeah.
yes, and it was just like, I'm not saying this to hurt you. I'm
Mhm.
saying this like, and I didn't want her to feel like she was the only person. I was saying, I was like, everyone needs to,
Mhm.
But yeah, she couldn't see it. And I was like, man, and I was thinking back to a conversation I had with this lady. She was from India,
Mhm.
and she told me I need to go visit India. And
Mhm.
after she told me that, I was like, I need to go visit India, because this lady was really tapped in.
Mhm.
And I forgot how old she said she was, but she didn't look her age.
Mhm.
And I was like, what's the secret? And she was like, meditation
Mhm.
and breath work. And I was like, wow. She's told me, she was like, you can't change people, when it comes to like, when you want like your family members or your
Mhm.
closest friends to like, do this, or because
Like
it's
elevate or
better.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. She was like, you just have to lead by example.
Mhm.
And I realized that with my mom. I was like, she's not going to change unless
Mhm.
she wants to change, and
Mhm.
I can't stress myself out over it. So I have to just be that,
Be
and
that
then
example. Yes.
reflect it onto
That
her.
is a great point. Like
Hmm.
you said that perfectly because that's something that I've been realizing just throughout the year.
Hmm.
Well, different things that I've been learning, different things that I've been coming across.
Hmm.
Sometimes, you're so excited because you learned this new information and it just helped you and it resonated with you so deeply and you like
Hmm.
excited to share it with somebody and they
Hmm.
might not be on like that type of wavelength and it's
Yep.
just like goes over their head and you're
Yep.
just like how can you not understand like
Yes.
but the leading by example that's what I definitely that was one of my lessons that I learned this year
Hmm.
because I would try to tell people certain things or
Hmm.
just give them advice about certain things but it's
Hmm.
just like I got better results by just doing it for myself and then you
Yes.
would see like
Hmm.
oh well you were paying attention like you
Right.
did understand or
Yes.
it just took you maybe you couldn't get it like that instantly as I wanted you to get it but you still got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the other things that I watched a video that you sent me
Yes.
and
About fear.
I definitely
Yes.
want to talk about that. But
Hmm.
I since it was one of the things you want to talk about, I want you to you can go ahead and lead the
Oh.
conversation.
Oh. Okay. in that video he was basically talking about using fear as a tool.
Mhm.
And I thought that was really interesting because I was like, wow, you can use a lot of things that you perceive as negative as a tool, because that's what they're there for.
Mhm.
I Both have to exist. That's
Mhm.
what I believe. The yin and the yang. But a lot of people don't really want to accept the negative because they
Mhm.
think it's just negative. I'm like, but the negative's there to teach you,
Mhm.
so you can learn. And that's what it really was. It was like, okay, use your fear, and your fear is telling you when you're not being authentic, or aligned with yourself. So, one of my things is I went to a rave,
Mhm.
like a week or two ago, and it was a little fearful. I was nervous. I was like, I never been to anything like this. And
Mhm.
although I could see that everyone else was in their own vibe
Mhm.
and no one cared
About
about
what you
what
was
else,
doing, yeah.
I'm still in my head.
Mhm.
And it's just like, wow. So I'm not being myself because that's what fear is showing me.
Mhm.
Because I don't want to dance how I really want to dance
Mhm.
right now. And it was like, man, I can look back on that now and say that was fear,
Yeah,
but
that
that's
was.
how I know that
Mhm.
I wasn't doing what I truly wanted to do.
Mhm.
So I feel like that was really interesting because I feel like you can use things like anxiety and depression because, anxiety is too far in the future, depression is too much in the past. And
That's a
when you
good.
get those,
I never heard that before, but
you
that's a
haven't?
good explanation.
Yes. That's where they say anxiety is when you're thinking too far in the future. You get really anxious,
Mm-hmm.
or depression is when you're too far in the past.
That makes
Um,
a lot of sense, honestly, though. Like, if you think
yes.
about it, it makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
So, oh, it was one other thing. Oh, you were saying transforming negative energy or just like allowing negative energy to
Mhm.
teach you certain things. And
Mhm.
I just wanted to like give an example because if you were to go in life without anything bad happening to you, you wouldn't learn anything because
Nope.
like we're learning because different stuff like may not have went our way or
Mhm.
just like different circumstances that we had no control of that might have been like
Right.
not what we wanted, but
Mhm.
those certain things didn't happen, we
Mhm.
wouldn't know or we wouldn't be where we are today. And
Right.
I think about that all the time
Mhm.
because it makes me understand more when I think about certain things in the past that I thought were like, oh, like end of the world type stuff, like, oh my God, how
Mhm.
am I going to get past this? Like,
Mhm.
not seeing how I was going to get past it, but I got past it. And then
Yes.
being here now, realizing the certain lessons that I learned from that
Yes.
experience. And it's like, oh, well, if I didn't go through that, it wouldn't I wouldn't have that learning or like just that type of mindset that I have
Yes.
now because it
Mhm.
just experiences are the best teachers.
They are
Somebody can tell you
literally.
whatever you want them to tell you.
Mhm.
You can read, watch, whatever, but experiences are the best teachers.
Yes, because we have different mindsets.
Mhm.
So although you can be like, someone could be like, well, this didn't work for me. It could work for you though.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because you can go into it with a totally different mindset than that person did.
Mhm.
You could say, well, this is gonna work for me,
Yeah.
and it works for you. And so man, it's so cool. Have you seen well, I know you probably seen it, Lion King,
Mhm.
but I seen a clip where they showed the scene where I don't remember his name. It was
Well,
the monkey, I
mhm. Oh yeah, I
believe.
don't remember his name either, but I know his character. I just don't remember his name.
He had hit Simba on
Oh,
the head.
oh yeah, with the little yeah, I know what
Yes.
you're
And
talking
he was
about.
like, what was that for? It doesn't matter. It's in the past. And I
Yeah.
was just like, wow. And then he tried to hit him again and he dodged it.
Mhm. Cuz
So
he
it's like,
learned cuz yeah,
yes.
yeah. Learned from experience.
Yes. So it was his
Rafiki.
Rocky.
Oh, okay.
Rocky. Oh wow. I didn't remember that.
Nah, I wasn't going to remember that. But
Yes.
that's a definitely a good example because well, something that I did want to say
Mhm.
is people learn lessons differently. So like
Mhm.
maybe I learned a lesson about money from maybe I got a whole bunch of money and I just spent it and now I don't have no more money.
Yep.
But like somebody else can learn a lesson they could not have any money to start off with and
Mhm.
then go through the process of establishing that money or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
And then like they learn the steps. They have that experience of like grinding, like
Right.
working towards it rather than just
Mhm.
having it and just not knowing like what this is worth or what to do with it. People are put in different circumstances because I feel like we are all put here, like we each have our individual lessons that we want to learn and things that we
Mhm.
want to just like dive deeper on.
Mhm.
I was reading in this book about
Mhm.
the Akashic record, and it
Ooh.
was saying that all of our, well, like just say me, right?
Mhm.
It's maybe like 1,000 other me's in different dimensions, and like an older me, a younger
Mhm.
me, a
Mhm.
male me,
Mhm.
different ones that are going through different experiences to elevate the main soul. I forgot what they
Yeah.
used, but it's just
Mhm.
like a like your source soul, and then you
Yes.
have all these different,
Like tree branches kind of
yeah,
just
like coming off.
yeah.
So this person, like the male me, might be learning about, I don't know, whatever,
Yeah,
but
right.
like we're all learning different things, and then
Mhm.
it's just developing that like main soul,
Yes.
and then that is like connected to like source, like whatever a source
Right.
is, whoever created us. Like, it's just evolving us as a whole and
Mhm.
individually,
Yes.
just the different things that we learn. That's what I think we're put on the planet to do. When people talk about finding their path and finding their purpose, I
Mhm.
do believe that, like, maybe you can stumble across something and have that, like, oh my God, this is what I meant here to do.
Right.
But honestly, I feel like we're just here to experience. Like, that
Yes.
is the
Right.
purpose of us
Yes.
being here. You're here to experience, and however that experience look like, however
Mhm.
you want to steer your life, that's
Mhm.
the type of experiences you're going to go through. There's no like,
Yes.
oh, I was meant here to be a doctor or whatever. Like,
Yes.
you're meant to do whatever you want. You can change it however
Yeah.
many times you want to.
And I
It's
feel
what it
like
is.
you can still kind of do things like that, like be a doctor, but I feel like a part of like not having as much creative professions is
Mhm.
because of like the system.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's because, people think that a profession is a passion, and
Mhm.
they limit themselves
Yeah,
because
to
all they
specific
oh my god,
careers or something.
yes,
Yeah.
imagine as a kid when you had career day and
Mhm.
you had these adults come in, and this
Yeah.
is when everything excites you, so
Mhm.
of course you're going to hear someone tell you a story about being a firefighter, and you're
Mhm.
like,
A
wow, like,
police officer,
yeah.
something like that. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I
Hmm.
was younger. Like, I never had that, oh, I want to be an astronaut, or oh, I want to be
Yeah.
a lawyer. Like, I never had like a deep passion about a certain specific career.
Hmm.
So it kind of made me feel like lost a little bit. It seemed like I had choice. These is the choices that I had to choose from,
Hmm.
and I was like, I don't want to do any of that.
Right,
Like,
your spirit knew.
yeah, like they knew it knew that I had no desire to do this. One of
Hmm.
one of the things that I ended up just picking something just because, like,
Yeah.
you know, we're in high school now, so that's when they really push you to
Right.
like think about your future. What's your
Hmm. You need
10-year
to get credits.
plan?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So that's when I was like, okay, well, I just picked marketing manager because
Hmm.
I like building stuff up. So
Hmm.
like my personal brand, my hair brand, I
Yes.
love the process of building the brand up, like
Hmm.
advertising, making
Hmm.
flyers, making websites, building clientele. Like,
Yeah.
I love the build up of something. So that's
Hmm.
why now
Hmm.
I've been doing hair for like 3 or 4 years now.
Hmm.
So I, because I've already, it's pretty much already established right now. Pretty
Yeah.
basically running for itself. I have a stable
Hmm.
clientele and everything.
Yes.
So now it's just, for me, it's just like, okay, I'm kind of bored with this now. Like, I'm
Mm.
ready to move on to the next thing. I think
Hmm.
it served its purpose. Like, it served its time period,
Yeah.
and now it's time for me to move on to the next thing that I like to do.
Hmm.
And that's this now. So
Ah,
now I'm
yes.
just like going through the process of building this up, just like how I built up my
Hmm.
other brand. And with me just being able to just say, okay, I don't know what I want to do. I'm just going to be a marketing manager. It did kind of steer me in the direction of what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But then when I realized, like, I don't want to be a marketing manager.
Mhm.
I can't do the corporate lifestyle and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, well, just ended up doing it for myself. So
Yes.
I feel like just understanding that you don't have to pick off these specific
Yes.
careers and
Mhm.
have this perfect planned out life, because planning, you can only plan so much,
You can't,
honestly.
because it's like things are gonna happen how they
Mhm.
happen, or they're how they're meant to happen, because
Mhm.
things happen for you, not to you.
Yeah.
And literally, this is what I was talking about with the Lyft driver, because we
Mhm.
was talking about passions, and I told her I watched a YouTube video last night, because I've been like really like, what is my passion? What is my passion?
Mhm.
I can't keep doing this like something that's not making me happy.
Mhm.
And yesterday I called off from work because I just needed a mental health day.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't go here right now. The
Yeah.
last time I was there, my coworkers' energy was off. It
Mhm.
was They was nitpicking at me. I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I called off, and I was like, let me at least take this time out to kind of focus on me and figure out, what do I want? What do I want to do?
Mhm.
And first thing I asked myself is, yeah, you've been doing the dog stuff. That's all your resume is. That's all it looks really good as
Mhm.
far as if I want to be a vet or a doggy daycare or a groomer.
Mhm.
It all looks good, but I'm like, do I wake up happy to
Yeah,
do
waking up
this,
doing that every
to go
day.
groom,
Yeah.
or to go to be a vet assistant, or go to a doggy daycare? And
Mhm.
it's like, no, I'm not.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, that's not it.
Mhm.
And just like you're doing this podcast now,
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? I've been really wanting to do dance.
Mhm.
And I bought my pole.
I
And then after I
seen. I
seen your
see.
pole the last time I was
Mhm.
here, I was like, and so I was like, let me get mine.
Mhm.
And so I was debating putting it up, because I was like, it was a lot of things going on, and I would
Mhm.
have to take it down within like 2 days and then put it back up.
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? Who cares?
Yeah.
It don't matter. I want to do
Yeah.
it today.
Mhm.
And so I put it up, and I was so excited. I was like, this is a little harder than I thought.
No, for real. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes.
Mhm.
But I was like, but I'm interested in it
Mhm.
still. And I still want to try to do it,
Mhm.
and I can see myself going to classes. So now I'm asking myself, I'm like, and I know a lot of people say your 20s is just trial.
Yeah,
Like,
literally, this is the perfect
this is,
time to try anything.
yes. So
Mhm.
I'm like, do I quit my job? And like, I'm like, okay, so if you quit your job, what can you do that will at least, pay you and like get you kind of closer to what it is that you
Mhm.
want to
That you
do?
want,
Like the
yeah.
dance and stuff. I'm like, well, I need to get in shape.
Mhm.
That showed me that I need to get in shape.
No, because it would do that for you for real.
Definitely. So I'm like, why don't I work at a gym
Mhm.
or a
Oh
yoga place?
yeah.
And
Mhm.
then that is at least something that it's
Mhm.
not this where it's like I'm dreading getting up.
Yeah.
Yes, it pays good, but now it's not fulfilling me. And that's the part I feel like what scares people, because it's like, okay, well, how are you going to pay for this?
Mhm.
And a lot of people are doing the jobs because it pays, but they're not fulfilled and depressed. And
Mhm.
it's just like, I can't do that no more. Just,
Yeah. And it's
man.
a good that you came to that realization now, because some people, it take them working at a job for 20 years and then come to that realization. So like you are
Yes.
definitely going. I feel like a lot of people that I surround myself around, like we're in the midst of like truly finding whatever it is that we want to do, because I
Mhm.
literally went through the same thing. Literally, I
Mhm.
was just talking to my boyfriend about this the other day,
Mhm.
saying that when I was doing hair,
Mhm.
like I was just going through different things. Like, okay, I'm like, I like doing hair. It's not
Mhm.
something that I don't like anymore. I just don't have a passion for it anymore. Like
Mhm.
I don't wake
Mhm.
up happy and be like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I have so
Uh,
and so clients or whatever, because
yeah.
it's like so repetitive now. I've been doing it for so
Mhm.
long.
Mhm.
So I just had to really take time, and I feel like it was all set up for me. Like I could have grasped the opportunity or I could have let it slip, but
Mhm.
basically my clientele was like slowing down a little bit.
Mhm.
And before, I would be working like 6 days a week
Right.
and all like 10-hour days. So
Wow.
when my
Yeah.
clientele started slowing up, I was able to kind of just relax and just
Mhm.
think and think about my life, like where I was, what I
Mhm.
wanted to do.
Mhm.
And during that time, it wasn't fast, I can say that. It
Mhm.
was certain like trial and error things. I'm like, okay, do I want to still be in this hair industry but like go product based? So I was like
Right.
looking to see like, oh, I can create my own gel, or I can
Yeah.
create my own bonnets or whatever, whatever. But
Mhm.
I would start doing it,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah,
Like
because
I
you don't
really
enjoy
don't. Yeah,
it.
like I could.
Mhm.
It felt like you have to put work in anything you do, but it just felt
Yeah.
like I was doing something that I wasn't going to enjoy in the long term. Like it
Mhm.
seemed like it was just something for me to make money, and I
Yeah.
was like over that. Like the
Mhm.
hair is making me money. I want to do something that fulfills me, just like you
Right.
were saying.
Mhm.
And then I had another trial and error where I was like, well, maybe I can do wigs. So I still like doing hair, but I won't have to have like clients, and I could do it
Mhm.
on my own time.
Mhm.
Tried that. I was like, I don't really like this either.
Mhm.
So the different experiences I had between that and now
Mhm.
led me here. Like
Mhm.
the time that I had to do research and just like get inspiration from different sources,
Mhm.
and then meeting different people and like
Mhm.
opening myself up more, and
Mhm.
realizing like taking others' feedback of how I make them feel,
Mhm.
or like just paying attention to the different things that made me happy. You have that aha moment that like, oh, I like this. Like
Mhm.
whatever I just did, that just made me feel good. So like,
Mhm.
what can I do to make that some type of I don't want to say something to make you money, but it's like
Mhm.
if you have a passion for something and it can make you money, do that. Like
Right.
do that. So
Yes.
that's literally what led me here
Mhm.
on this path, and just the different things, the different I don't believe in coincidence, but
Oh
the
yeah.
different signs that I got.
Yeah.
So we was talking about, you brought up the fear and how they
Mhm.
portray it in the media and stuff.
Yes, and I feel like I feel like the media plays a part in like a lot of fear. And I was telling you about, I like how you do the hikes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I like seeing more melanated beings
Hmm.
going out doing things like that, more adventurous, because before we had this, I guess you could say, stigma of like, oh, that's what white people do.
Yeah,
And I'm just like,
like, oh, that's that white people shit. Like, no.
yay. I see it more so now though.
Hmm.
And it makes me really excited
Hmm.
because I see it online. I see more melanated people traveling out of country and going skydiving and,
Yeah, doing all these
going on hikes.
different activities that we would
Yes.
never seen.
Right.
Hmm.
And I feel like the fear kept people from doing that stuff, because your mind just went to, well, you can die doing this and you could die
Hmm.
doing that and you could die. And I'm like, okay, but you can die in the hood.
Hmm.
Which
Like,
way would you rather die? And that's not saying that you're gonna die
yeah,
like,
but
going skydiving.
if you're thinking about it like that, then shoot, I'm gonna give you an example to make you think if that's how you're thinking.
Yes. And then you had the movies like Jaws. So now you got people thinking that sharks just attack them. But then I be seeing other people, and I'm like, I don't hear too often about shark
Shark
attacks.
attacks. Yeah, you don't. Honestly, you
Right.
don't. Or plane crashes. It was this I forgot the exact statistic, but they said that there are more car accidents than there are like plane crashes.
Right.
And
And I can believe it.
yeah, because I mean, it would be kind of crazy if it was like hella plane crashes. But I know people in our community, some of us never flown before or scared of flying
Mm-hmm.
just because of like being thousands of feet in the air or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
people are not caring about certain things anymore. Like they want to
Mm-hmm.
have that experience, and they
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to do these certain things. And I definitely see it more, more
Yes.
and more. And I that's what I'm so grateful for,
Mm-hmm.
because as much as it is bad,
Mm-hmm.
it's so much more good. Like it's so much
Yeah.
more positive things that I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
People are being aware of certain things, knowing the real
Yes.
behind certain things, and just
Mm-hmm.
being able to break out of whatever stigma or whatever
Yes.
stereotype
Mm-hmm.
that was brought on to us by other people,
Mm-hmm.
and just making our own lane and our own way for ourselves.
Yes.
Definitely see that way more.
and choosing to focus on that positive, like what am I going to get out of this experience
Mhm.
versus what if.
Yeah.
And I feel like the fear starts as kids. Have you ever seen Kanye West talk about how like the kid jumps on the table in the restaurant and he thinks he's Superman until his parent tells him to get down because he could
Mm.
fall
Mhm.
or this, and so that
Mhm.
fear goes into his head. So now, he was up here on the top of the world
Yeah,
and
and
you
just
brought him
bottom
down
down.
here with this
Mhm.
fear. It's like that's where when we was talking about experiences and learning. If he were to fall, guess what he knows now?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
don't put that fear in him because that makes him hesitate.
Mhm. And not
And
even want to try. Mhm.
exactly. And I feel like we just grow up with all that. That's why it's a lot scarier for people to risk because they're like, what if, all
Mhm.
these what if. Have you read the Four Agreements?
I didn't read that one. Wait, did I? I read something by the same author,
Okay,
but I don't think it was the Four Agreements.
gotta
But I
look it
read.
up.
I have his name is like Don something or
Yeah,
yeah.
yep. Highly recommend it.
Mhm.
It's so good. It's kind of what we're talking about right now. Have you watched? I think it's called Resets Therapy on Instagram.
I never heard of it.
This guy interviews this podcast with little
Mhm.
kids,
Okay.
and he'll just interview random kids. But the one thing I like about kids is because before they get into that school system where they lose their imagination and stuff, I feel like kids can be the best teachers as well
Well,
because
yeah.
you
It's
get
true.
to see a raw, authentic human being
Mhm.
without any indoctrination. Um, and it was one time I went skating and I seen this little boy, he was on blades, and I usually skate with blades as well.
Mhm.
And he was running, and I
Mhm.
was just like, oh my gosh, he's not afraid of falling. That's
Mhm.
not in his mindset. So, of
Mhm.
course, he's giving it his all and he's getting that result,
Mhm.
and I feel like Bashir talks about when you sink into certain emotions, that's what you get. That's your reality because
Mhm.
you project that out. So, if you sink into disappointment, that's all you're going to perceive.
Mhm.
Um, so I feel like when you have a child who's like doesn't perceive, they're like, they don't know what disappointment is, they don't know what fear
Yeah.
is, they can create the best things and their
Mhm.
imagination is the best, because none of that exists.
Mhm.
But then we learn growing up
Yeah,
fear
then
not to.
it's pushed into you certain things that they want you to have because of like whatever propaganda they trying to push in society or whatever like the case
Mhm.
may be. I it was a video that I watched and it made me have that same like realization. It
Mhm.
was a little boy and
Mhm.
he had like I don't know what type of spider it was, but it was like a huge spider and he was just
Ooh.
playing with it,
Right.
petting it. He had no type of fear in his body. That just wasn't what he thought of when he seen the spider. He was just like, "Oh
Mhm.
my gosh, like what's that?" Like so
Right.
curious, and it was cool to see because I know if it
Mhm.
was me and I
Yeah.
seen the spider, I would have
Right.
been whacking that joker trying to
Right.
get away because of just the fear that I've been put upon.
Mhm.
uh, Either it could have been naturally in me already, or it
Mhm.
could have just been pushed from certain things that I've seen or certain things that I've
Yeah.
heard from other people or
Mhm.
things like that.
You
That was
seen
just
the
some.
you seen the adults like get scared of it. So now
Mhm.
you're like, okay, when I see this, I get scared of it.
Mhm.
They say, oh, it could bite you. So now your
Yeah.
mind is okay, it could bite you.
Poisonous. You could
Yeah,
die. Yeah.
right.
I feel like we really hit on all the topics that I wanted to hit on. Um
Yes.
this was definitely a great episode. I'm so glad that you came. Thank
Yes. Thanks for
you.
inviting me.
I usually like to leave it off with a quote.
Oh,
Um, I don't have a quote particularly from a book today, but
okay.
I have a quote that I have in my head. So,
Ooh, yes.
um, let's see what I had it in my head. Oh wait, I think I remember now. Okay.
Okay.
So the quote for today is art imitates life. Life doesn't imitate art. So
Hmm.
just be like have an open mind the next time you watch a movie or the
Mhm.
next time you watch a show.
Mhm.
Like try to make certain, even if it's an animation or a Disney movie, they put a lot of real shit in them kids movies.
Yeah.
So like when you're watching certain things, try to figure out what the message is, like the
Mhm.
real message is behind it, not like the plot of the movie, but like what
Right.
is it really trying to show you, what is it really trying to teach you.
Mhm.
It's this one movie. I do want to talk about this. It's one movie
Mhm.
that I just watched. The Dr. Seuss movie. Horton Hears a Who. Have you
I
ever watched
heard
that?
of it, but I don't think I watched it.
Okay, you should watch it.
Oh,
It has
it's
a
on my list.
great message. So basically,
Oh.
the movie is this elephant, and he
Mhm.
comes across this speck, and it's like a real tiny speck,
Mhm.
but you know, elephants, they're known for like having great hearing. So
Mhm.
he hears people like voices, and he's like, is it people on this speck? And then he realizes like he's able to hear this man's talking to him from the speck, because it's like a whole world. Like
On there.
say if giants was looking at our world or something like that.
Mhm.
And then it was a kangaroo, and she was telling him, there's nobody on that speck. You didn't
Mhm.
hear anything. If you can't see it, if I can't see it, touch it, or smell it, then it's not real. She was really going so hard to the fact that she wanted to take the speck from him, destroy whatever he thought was there. And
Oh
I
my
was just like,
gosh.
dang, people go so hard for something, and it could, like, you could be wrong, like we all could be wrong, but like let that
Mhm.
nigga believe it's people
Right,
on this spec.
right.
It ain't hurting
Because it's
nobody.
not exactly.
Yeah, so that's just what I wanted to say. It's different, it's deeper messages behind everything we see.
It
So
is.
try to look for the deeper messages in
Mhm.
the next whatever it is that you come across.
Right. And whatever you hear is probably what you need to hear
Yeah.
because everything's a reflection.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Back to You.
Thanks
That's
for
it.
having me.